and welcome to Elizabeth's Craft Room. I'm just seeing whether I am live in the real world. Let's have a little look. Is this updating? Ooh, come on Facebook, show me something useful. That looks like me now. So I think I am live. Come and say hello if you are with me. So I'm not just talking to myself, because otherwise I feel a bit of a fool. But you may be watching on catch up, and if you are, welcome. Very nice to have you along, and remember to subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, or give me a like if you're watching on Facebook. It's always good. And say hello. And good morning from Teresa. It's morning where Teresa is, which is over the pond in the USA. So hi Teresa. And we've got Pamela joining from Bristol. CT, that's Connecticut. Am I good? How am I doing? How am I doing with my my abbreviations? I think CT is Connecticut. Hi Pamela. My sister-in-law used to live quite near you there. But she lives in London now. Hi, Teresa is on work call, so won't be able to stay for the whole thing. That's okay, Teresa. You can watch the rest on catch up. Very nice to have you joining live at the beginning. So yeah, it is a weird weather day. As obviously being British, we like to talk about the weather. So it is a weird weather day here. I will just turn this camera around and show you. It is kind of bright and sunny out there at the moment, but we have had all the weather, and now I can't, no, don't go away. See, I'm trying to do something technical, like turn the camera around, it all goes wrong. We have had heavy hail, random, out of nowhere, heavy rain, and now bright sunshine. So my husband's gone out to work on his car, which means it's quiet in the house, which is good for talking to you. Okay, so my question for you today, and if you are watching this live or watching on catch up, you can answer the question, is do you have a Stamparatus? That's what we call them in the UK. Oh, Katie's joining us. Hi, Katie. Nice to have you along. So do you own a Stamparatus? I would love to know. Or, I believe other stamp positioning tools are available. Of course, they're not as good as the Stampin' Up! Stamparatus, but do you have another stamp positioning tool and do you use it? I have recently been doing a series of classes for different things that you can do with your Stamparatus. And Katie says, yes, of course she has. She does have a Stamparatus. Pamela says, it's cold and rainy here. Ooh, expecting snow and sleet on Friday. Jerry is joining us and she says, yes, she does have a Stamparatus. So when we first launched the Stamparatus some time ago, Pamela has one too, good. I did a class that my ladies came to in person, and everyone brought their Stamparatus along, and we did all the things that you can do with it and really enjoyed it, and they took them home, and some of those things they have carried on doing, and then they have forgotten some of the things that it can do. So recently on my my Liz's Lovely Ladies group, I have been doing a series of this online Stamparatus class. So they've got a different video every week. And it's been amazing seeing how many things people have forgotten. Oh, I forgot it did this and I forgot it did this. So I'm going to be doing something today with the Stamparatus. Actually, the thing I'm showing today does not appear in my online class. So this is like an extra thing that I've fairly recently discovered myself you could do. So yeah, I showed some ladies last week this particular one and it went down very well, and I've seen some examples made using it as well, so that's always good, because when you show someone and then people start to do that's you think, yeah, well, that must have been a good one and people like it. So that's what I'm going to share with you today. If you are interested in doing an online Stamparatus class with 10, and now I'm thinking, is it even 12? Well, let's say it's 10 in case it's only 10, it may be 12. Different techniques that you can do with the Stamparatus. So 10 different things that it does, and an introduction video that you can use to remind yourself how to use a Stamparatus. Or if you're a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I know some of you are, you could actually teach those different techniques to your lovely customers. If you want to do that, this is where you can find me, liz.shannon@icloud.com. Drop me a line and I will send you some details if you are interested in doing an online Stamparatus class. But enough of all that, let's go on. Pamela says, exciting to learn new techniques. Oh, Wendy's joining us. It's Wendy Hodgkinson's from Australia and loves her Stamparatus. Yay. You must be up late, Wendy, joining from Australia. Where in Oz are you? I would love to know. So yeah, it was basically, when I did this class, it was for somebody who'd never used Stamparatus before, and then going through all the things that it does. Oh, Diane's joining from Australia as well. It's all happening down under today. What's your weather like where you are, girls, down in Oz? Do tell me. Right, I'm going to move across to my my other stand here. Bear with me. Shut your eyes if you get dizzy. And I'll move you around. Trying to move my iPad around as well so I can also see what you're saying. When I did this on my live with my ladies this morning, it almost cut the camera off, which was not good. Right, okay, that seems to be there. So this, what I'm going to show you today is a repeat stamping technique. Hinge stamping is what Stampin' Up! Call it because we have hinges. However, it is hinge stamping plus another direction. And that gives us a really versatile background that we can use with all sorts of different stamps and all sorts of different designs and colours. We can stamp off, as I will show you, all sorts of different things that we can do using the hinge plus technique, I think I will call it. So Wendy is in Inverell, which is New South Wales, a bit damp, but obviously coming into their warmer season. And Diane is also New South Wales in the beautiful, very wet upper Hunter Valley. Hunter Valley, is that a wine area then? Because I'm thinking I've heard of that, and you know, I'm a bit of a Australian wine girl, so maybe I'm just imagining that, Diane. And Antriana is joining us. Hi, Antriana. I think you may have seen this demonstration, but I'm sure you'll enjoy it all over again. Okay, so what we're going to do is first of all position a stamp. Now the only rule about this stamp is it needs to be smaller than 1 inch. Okay, we've got Ali Jolliffe joining us. Hi Ali, nice to have you along. So smaller than 1 inch. And the other thing that's critical when we're doing this, just so we can get our background nice and central, is the size of the layer of cardstock that we're going to use. And this needs to be 5 inches by 3.5 inches. So that's the important bit that we need to remember. 5 inches by 3.5 inches. Just checking my messages. Ali is in rainy Cheshire, and Hunter Valley is definitely wine country. You see, I know my wine regions. Okay, I've had one of those weeks already, and it's only Wednesday, where I've needed to reach for my glass of wine in the evening for sure. Okay, so what I'm going to do is position this. Now, where I want to position it, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hinge pieces here, and I want to come and position this on the second one in, so my second hinge piece in, and I want it fairly central on that hinge, and then looking across from the side I want it on the top hinge. So 1, 2, 3, 4 across and 1 down, and that's where I want to position this. And Vanessa is joining us. Hi Vanessa, nice to have you with us. So I think the only bit you missed is my little piece of cardstock here is 5 inches by 3.5. So we're going to start off with that. I don't know if you always do this, but I always put an ink pad underneath that so that this isn't down on the ground. It makes it easier. And I would say not to get ink all over this piece here, but you just know I'm going to, especially as I'm using rich raspberry. So you just know I'm going to get ink everywhere. But if you're not making a mess, you're not doing it right. Okay, so I'm going to ink up that one first. Now I should really have my magnet on there. I'm going to move it down on the hinge and stamp again. So now I've got a stamped off layer, move it down and stamp off again. So three different layers. So that's our regular hinge stamping. But to make an interesting background, I'm now going to move across here and count 1, 2, 3 across. Now we'll just say I am using this, I can't remember now what it's called. I think it's called I don't think it's luxury mat, but it's kind of, that's the implication. It's a fancy mat. It's got foam on the back and this piece on the front. But if you don't have that, you can measure with your grid that's underneath. You can measure with grid paper if you use grid paper. But I am using my fancy mat. So I'm counting 1, 2, 3. Those are 1/2 inches. So that's 1, no they're not. 1, 2, 3. Oh, okay. You know when you've been teaching something quite happily and then you suddenly realise that you obviously have been given one that has centimetres on it. So I'm now going to need to convert this for my inches, girls, aren't I? I am going to need to do this on the hop. Bear with me, girls. We can do this. We can do this. So that is coming at, so that's going to be 1 1/4 inches out. So you're going to need to come 1 1/4 inches out. Okay. You see this, because it's got inches round the edge, I'm just thinking it's inches, but no. Okay, so we're 1, 2, 3 out. And we're going to do the same again. 1, 2, 3. And again, 1, 2, 3 out. Now I should be able to use maths now to do this, but you know, let's not put me too much to the test. That's going to be about 3 inches out. No, it's not. No, it's not. Come on, Liz, get this right. We're coming there. That's 2 3/4 inches. 2 3/4 inches out. And off we go again. Told you I was going to make a mess. 1, 2, 3. And that is the technique, because you then get a perfectly lined up, with inches it turns out, or centimetres, you get a perfectly lined up background piece. So what can you do with this to make it look fun? Okay, because it's okay, but it's a bit dull on its own. So let's do some more stamping with the Stamparatus. Close this one up now. Switch those round and pop this one on. And I'm stamping now with Basic Grey, and this is from Dandelion Wishes. We're going to do our dandelion piece there. I'll just take the little extra dandelion bits and have those coming across as well. And I think I'd like something else on there. I think I'd like a little word on there. So let's take this across and bring it in. Ooh. Not into my ink pad. My die cutting machine, also called the Handyman in Elizabeth's craft room. and we're going to cut a little friend word. This is using the well-written dies. If you haven't used these are really fun. I'm going to get them out. You can see you get lots of different words and they cut really well with the die cutting machine. And something else you can do is you can use this stuff here. Now this is like our dimensionals, but in a sheet. And this is really good because what you do, you take your piece of cardstock, you can see here's one I've done earlier, you take your piece of cardstock and you stick it onto one side of that dimensional sheet, and then you run your word through. Obviously works with everything, not just the words, but I have used it quite a lot like this. And then we have got to take all the little bits out in between. Where's my... Take your pick tool. So you're going to have to take all those little pieces out, but you will get, when you do, out you come, a really nice chunky word that pops up. Now, because you don't want to watch me getting all those little bits out, here's one I did earlier, as we say in the UK. It used to be in a children's programme, which all of us in the UK were brought up with, which is called Blue Peter, and they'd get to the really complicated bit and then they'd say, here's one I did earlier. And here it is, and it wasn't complicated, it just took a little while. And I'm going to put my word friend just up here. Now in these words, there are little I dots if you want to find your little I dot, or you can cheat and just draw in a little I dot for your friend. And I'm going to layer this up onto a piece of, I think that is actually Blackberry Bliss rather than the Rich Razzleberry, because that's what I had to hand. And slightly mangled card. I don't know what's happened to that. I think that's got caught in something. Let's try another one. Let's try another card base that I've got lying around. Let's go for that one. And there you go. So a very simple technique. Now let me just check to see if I've missed any questions. Diane's just north of Newcastle, and oh, Wendy's saying it's the deluxe mat. Yes, I think you're right, it's the deluxe. And Anne's joining us. Hi Anne, who's one of my lovely ladies, and Lynn is joining us as well. So as you can see, this is a really good technique that you can do with the Stamparatus. And if you would like to do or teach Stamparatus techniques, as I said, you can get in contact with me here at liz.shannon@icloud.com, and I'll send you details of the online class that is available that I have, sorry, I've just put that right over the top, that I have been sharing with my, my lovely ladies. So let's show you a few more examples of this technique. So here's the first one. Now, as I said, the important thing when you're doing this is that these little images need to be smaller than an inch. Somewhere around 3/4 of an inch is best. As soon as you start going bigger, they can run into one another. I'll show you a slightly bigger one, but let me show you where I found when I went through my stamps and found, this kind of looks like a little flower here when you look at it, but actually it's out of Dress to Impress. It's this little squiggly sort of watercoloured piece of image there. And then I stamped over the top of it with the leaves, which are Forever Fern. So stamped over the top with Forever Fern, and some bling on there as well. Those little corners, I love those. They're just trying to see whether I've got the pot around to tell you what they're called. You see, I'm a rank amateur sometimes, but they're really nice. I think they're in the Good World, Big World, World one. But they're in the big book. Okay. Let's see what else we have. So, a bit of a festive option. Now this one, and I have put some Wink of Stella on there because, you know, you've got to have a little bit of shine. This one here, this is kind of about the maximum that you can do. Let's get my handy measure out again. So that is pushing it. That's just under the inch. But you can see that you haven't got very much gap in between those trees. So you certainly don't want to go any bigger than that. But you can get away with it at just under an inch there in height. And again, you could do an inch in width as well. So you could go a little bit bigger than these. So our little skating or dancing penguin on there is really fun as well. That's from Freezing Fun stamp set, and yeah, a little bit of shine on there. I don't know if you can see that. Oh, I didn't say where I got this circle from. You would probably not guess. It comes out of High Tide. So again, a bit of a random thing, but I thought let's try it with a circle, and that worked quite well. And I think the other two are both out of the same stamp set. So this one here with the balloons, I think this came out quite nicely. This again, the happy birthday is done using those dies that I mentioned, which are the well-written dies. And here I've used different colours. So I actually started off with, I think this one was Poppy Parade. And then this one is the Terracotta Tile. And this one is our new yellow, which is Bumblebee. I'm going to have to check. Oh, it's just called Bumblebee. I was thinking, what's the other word? But it's just called Bumblebee. So that one's in Bumblebee. These little balloons, these came out of Monogram Messages, and actually all of these little ones would work perfectly. And there's my other one, again out of Monogram Messages with the thanks. And again, I used 3 different colours here, but I did stamp off. Of course, with this one, I didn't stamp off. I re-inked every time. So, and with this one here, of course, I just did some colouring in. So it really is quite a versatile technique to use to make all sorts of different cards with that repeat technique. So I'm just seeing if anyone's got any questions. Pam, this is beautiful. Bless you. Thank you. And then it says, hi, everyone. Pamela's getting a little bit of a lesson, having never been to, being in the US and having never been to England, Australia or Wales. New South Wales, that is in Australia. But her grandfather was from England and her grandmother from Wales. Well, there you go. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it, where we all come from? The internet is a strange and wonderful thing, sometimes more strange than wonderful, but it's lovely to have you all from all over the world. And if you're watching on catch up, also write me a note in the messages below. I'm doing this in the wrong direction. Below, and tell me where you're watching from. So that is that's our projects for today. Let me know if there's something you'd particularly like to see. Tell me if you use your Stamparatus to its full capabilities, because there are lots of things that it does, and I think we all forget when we have tools in our crafting space, we forget all the things that they can do sometimes. So it's really been a fun thing sharing a class with my ladies and then seeing them reuse things. Oh, you're giving me hearts. That's lovely. Thank you very much. Wendy says lovely cards and a great technique. Thank you, Wendy. That's really kind of you. So I will put some pictures of these up on my Facebook group and on my blog. My blog is, that's me at my blog, Elizabeth's Craft Room. So I will pop these on. Probably I'll put the photos up and things later in the week when I've taken a breath. Yeah, I will pop them up so you can refer back to them if you want to. Thank you all for coming along today. Rosie's arrived just as I'm finishing. Rosie, you're going to have to go back. Yeah, Rosie is asking though, guess which one is her favourite? That would be this one, because Rosie, if you don't know, Rosie Miners is a bit of a penguin addict, so I'm not surprised that's her favourite. You're gonna need to go and watch on Catch Up, Rosie, to see how to make it. Thank you all for coming today. I will be back next week with something that will be brand new in the Stampin' Up catalogue, although if you're a demonstrator you may well have already seen it, but I have some brand new things to show you that I have done with it. So do come along next week. It's going to be same time, same place, or watch on Catch Up whenever it's convenient for you. Thank you all for coming today. Remember, you can get in touch with me if you would like to. Bye, everybody.